welcome to Roundtable Pod Racers. My name is Anna from La Geeky Life. I'm so excited for you to be talking to you. Thank you for joining us, taking your time from, I know, your super busy schedule. And we have both been a huge fan, not only from Lattes with Leia with Star Wars, but all your work with Nerdist and the fandom community. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. That was all very sweet. I'm gonna blush.
Just for our listeners, can you do a little quick intro?
Yeah, of course. I am a big Star Wars fan. Might pick up on that if they ever talk to me online ever or in real life. I am associate editor for Nerdist.com. I still freelance for StarWars.com and once in a while Star Wars Insider. But I write about, a lot of Star Wars, surprise, surprise, for both sites, and just kind of entertainment in general. A lot of film, a lot of cosplay, a lot of comic books, a lot of cool fan stuff. So it's a pretty cool job. I worked hard for it, but I also feel very fortunate to be able to do what I do.
That's awesome, because I know we've seen your work all around. I know your Disney podcast that makes me hungry all the time.
Oh, me too.
and thinking about your love for Star Wars, and we saw that you were at the screening for Rebels yesterday. How was that experience?
Oh my gosh, what a couple days. It was funny because I decided I work on weekends right now. I edit on the weekends. So I'm like, we're going to drive back after the screening, forgetting that it's like a 6. I mean, I thought it'd be a little faster at night, so we got back at like 3:30.
Oh, my goodness.
It's worth it because it's Star Wars. So
yeah.
They showed us the first 4 episodes, actually.
Wow.
So we're heading into the end of Star Wars Rebels, sadly. Sadly, but not. I think it's nice that they actually get to give it an ending.
Yeah. And
the 4 episodes we saw were just incredible. They were really beautifully done, really rich in mythology, and I can't wait till everybody sees them. So that's what I was just tweeting about. Like, if you haven't watched the show, like, clear your weekend, catch up, because you want to be part of the conversations
that are
going to happen in the next few weeks.
I've been rewatching the last season and just like again and again. What did I miss? What's coming up? Because I know it's just gonna be crying, happiness, everything all together.
Yes, 100%.
Oh no. And talking about how your love for Star Wars, what do you remember being your first memory from Star Wars?
This is really vague. I don't remember it in super high detail, but when I was a kid, I think around 10 years old, I remember riding the Star Tours attraction at Disney. And I remember the trench run, and I feel like they were Ewoks. Because I didn't see the films till I was like 16, and they were re-released. The special editions were re-released in theaters. So that's kind of my first memory of Star Wars. And then it took me, I watched, the original trilogy when it was released, watched the prequels and enjoyed them. But what made me fall in love with Star Wars and drove me to the point I am at now, which I am very happy with, is Clone Wars.
Oh, yes. Clone Wars.
Clone Wars, like my Star Wars, you know what I mean?
That's what got. Oh, no, definitely. I feel like for me, I watched Star Wars very young. I was back in Colombia, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Then I got here to the States, and I was like, oh, there's more. So I feel like I fell in love again with Star Wars watching Clone Wars.
Oh, I love that show so much. It's one of those things I'm like, I know I need to watch new things, but I could also just rewatch Clone Wars over and over. I
think I've watched it 7 times over and over, and I continue. I fall asleep to it. It's just incredible.
Well, yeah, especially since it's on Netflix and it's so easy to.
Yeah.
It's easier than getting out the Blu-rays.
Exactly. I'm like, no. And what does it mean? I know you made this your job, so it clearly means so much for you. What exactly does Star Wars mean for Amy Ratcliffe?
I love Star Wars because of, I know it's a cheesy thing. I'm not going to use the word cheesy because I don't think there's anything wrong with, being sentimental or focusing on the positive things. But I think it's hopeful. I think the constant message that no matter what you do, no matter how small you think the contributions you're making are, they make a difference. And over time, and with a lot of people, you can change the galaxy. And that's just a message that persists in everything Star Wars we've seen so far. And it was actually one reason in Last Jedi when Leia lost hope for a little at the end. And I get that. They were in really a dire circumstance at the end. But that hit hard because I was like, oh, I don't think I've ever seen Leia falter like that. So I know they are feeling truly and seriously screwed in that kind of despair. But anyway, tangent. But no, I think just the hopeful messages and kind of that anyone can make a difference. I think that's huge.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, because I feel like, and especially now, what I love is that more girls are talking about it, and I feel like the message has always been there, but it's crazy and amazing to see that I get to talk to you, and it's another girl, and it's who's running part of Nerdist, and there's so many girls now that are dressed up as Rey, and everything is just blowing up, and it's amazing. And I love to talk about girl power always. And in your opinion, how has Star Wars affected the idea of girl power?
I think change started to happen in that regard as far as fandom with Clone Wars, because as more people came from thinking Ahsoka was bratty to realizing she was, I admit that when she was first introduced, I'm like, I don't know about this kid. So I think it started there, but I feel like I especially saw the difference with Rey, because it's the first time, like, we have Padme, we have Leia, and they're amazing in their own rights with different skill sets. But Rey, they were part of the main trilogy, but they weren't leads. So to have Rey in Episode 7 catch that lightsaber, I know that means a lot to a lot of fans in general, but the female fans I talk to especially are like, that's not something we thought we'd see on the big screen in the Star Wars film. And it's kind of one of those things, like, I also kind of felt with Wonder Woman, like, I didn't know I needed to see that as much as I did until it was on the screen. Yeah. And from there, just watching the number of kids, both boys and girls, and adult women, and actually some adult men I saw dressed as Rey at conventions, just kind of that, I feel like that was really kind of a phenomenon that people... Sure, some people reacted to it like tools. That will always happen.
Always.
But the positive response to that character, I think that was a huge deal, not just for Star Wars, but kind of for nerd fandom in general. And that has been followed up with things like Wonder Woman, more things that I'm spacing on. But a DC superhero film, I think, has been important for that too. So I think it's been interesting to kind of watch the, just even in the past, 10 years, the changes I feel like I've seen in fandom. I don't think we would have had Forces of Destiny 10 years ago. Heck, 10 years ago, before her universe, or when that started, I still had to look for my Star Wars t-shirts in the boys department at Target. And now there are so many, just like looking at that part of it, there are so many fashion options designed for women. I can't, I have so many options, I can't buy them all.
No, now you go broke.
But that was and it's 10 years ago, that was so, I would buy everything her universe released because I'm like, I need more of this. And it's wild to kind of gauge it from that side. Just, I know that kind of seems silly to look at from a merchandise angle, but it's just changed so rapidly and so much. And I have, even with thinking Black Panther, I can think of 3 places I can buy awesome Black Panther jewelry, officially licensed, amazing. And that's we should have been here a while ago. But thank God we are finally making progress.
Oh no, definitely, because
there's still a ways to go, but
yeah, no, for sure. We need a female director in the next Star Wars movies. Yes. No, and definitely, even from Wonder Woman, and for example, for me, I've always been a huge Leia fan because Leia always gave us hope. And then we transitioned to Ahsoka, and then all the way from Rey, which I love because Rey has been always so fearless, and she came from nothing. So that also, again, gives us hope. So that's why I love, her parents are nobody. Yeah, I love that because that tells us that us girls that have always been dreaming to battle with lightsabers can do it now with no problem. And it's acceptable.
it's really, yeah, exactly. That's the perfect word. Accessible. It's uplifting. It's you can see yourself in that role.
Yeah.
You can see yourself as, oh, I can be the person who turns the tide in anything.
Yeah, and can even find the balance. You never know if Rey comes again and, you know, she's
Oh,
persuaded
yeah.
Kylo's so good. Can she be the one? Not Anakin, but
I feel like she could.
Yeah. So in your opinion, is Rey right now your favorite character, female character?
Ahsoka's my girl.
Yeah.
I know she's been out of play for a little while, but I learned, like, in fandom kind of too. I feel like I grew up with Ahsoka, and then by the time she showed back up in Rebels, she's like my age in real life,
Yeah.
roughly, you know, like in her 30s, and has gone through a lot and is figuring out just kind of what to do next, and still fighting for what's good and right, even though it's a hazard to her. You know, she could go off. I mean, I don't want to say Yoda hid, but she could go off like Yoda in exile and stay under the radar and live her life. And instead, she helps the rebellion. And I also think watching her perspective change, like learning with her, the moment when she walked away from the Jedi Order just had such a huge impact on me. And I remember at first I was like, I don't know about this. I don't like it. But then I was kind of processing it and realizing what a huge deal that was for her to walk away from pretty much the only life she has ever known, and to do so at a pretty young, I mean, relatively young age.
Yeah.
Like, to have, that's huge, and that's inspiring to realize, you know, to kind of, it makes you, kind of made me appreciate, like, you have to always question things. You can't just relax in your beliefs. You have to ask yourself about them, and whether you're living the life you want to live, or whether you're, you know, working at a job that you're comfortable with everything they do, kind of like relating it to real life. And I find that so inspiring. Really, and still, when she came back in Rebels, I just think she's amazing. And speaking of Ahsoka,
Hi Ahsoka.
That was a surprise. So yeah.
No, I definitely, I've been an Ahsoka lover. I cosplayed as her once, and I feel like I feel like even when I read the book, I was like, this is me right now. And actually, it sounds silly, but sometimes, like, I feel like, okay, I want to start blogging about Star Wars. I want to start doing a podcast, but I was so scared, and I was like, no, but what? Like, I also see one of the cosplayers that I follow posting always, what would Ahsoka do? And it might sound silly, but it's like, no, I want to do it. Like, there's no problem with that. And then maybe if I fail, I'll get up again. And that's something that you learn from all these characters, that it's cool that little kids are seeing it too, because we didn't get that when I was younger. And my favorite character, one of my favorite characters has always been Vader, but it's for different reasons. At least that one is here, like, okay, this is something more inspiring, more Leia-like. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, fiction can have such a huge impact on a lot of actions, like the what would Ahsoka do, or, you know, a lot of people do that with different characters. And if it's what helps you process the world, or helps you process decisions, I guess, then absolutely, like, fiction stories mean so much.
Yeah. Have you seen a transition from, like, maybe 10 years ago to now, and how girls are now talking more and seeing that Star Wars is for everyone?
Yeah, definitely. Thinking back a ways, I remember the story about Katie, the Star Wars girl, who was, I forget how old she was, but she was getting bullied for either having a Star Wars backpack or a Star Wars water bottle. And her mom posted about it on the internet, and lots of fans wrote support and left comments, and she would share them all with Katie, and that made such a big difference. And I'm sure that still happens somewhere, unfortunately. But I think just the amount, like, of girls I see in Star Wars t-shirts, like, it's a really silly, like, this is not scientific, but, like, when I go to Disneyland, the amount of women and girls I see in Star Wars gear or Rey costumes, like, compared to what it was maybe 10 years ago, I feel like it's more. And that might just be because they released a lot more merchandise to push the new movies, but I think I certainly feel more comfortable, like, speaking up, making my voice heard. I definitely feel more comfortable speaking up when I don't agree with maybe some comments, some podcast, or, you know, like in the game community, if I see something, I'm like, no, that's just BS. To say a more polite version on Twitter. I don't feel scared to do that because I know that I have an awesome community at my back who will support me. And I definitely didn't feel that way even like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think over time, it's like I said, I think there's still progress to go, but I feel like it's become a more safe space for women, or at least that Twitter and online communities, podcasts, and things have allowed us to cultivate our own safe spaces. And I think it's really important to have, you know, you have a broader community. Obviously, Star Wars fandom is, like, goodness knows how many, whatever, it's a lot of growth. But I think it's important to cultivate smaller, like, your own community within that community. And I think that's easier to do now than, this sounds like such an old lady thing to say, but like an easier thing to do now than ever before because of all the tools we have to connect.
Yeah, no, I still see, like you said, there's still some work to be done. I still have gotten certain comments here and there on Instagram about being a girl. But I also love that because of social media, there's more of a support. Like, I belong here to a group called Geek Girl Brunch where we, you know, get together every month. Yeah, so like tomorrow we're going to go see Black Panther. Or we're going to do a Valentine's Day brunch. So at least, you know, even though we still get those little comments, we have the support to back it up. And you feel like right now I can feel like I can write about anything and the things that, yes, I love The Last Jedi and there's nothing wrong about it. So I'll write about it. And if I get a comment, oh, well, that's too bad.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I make liberal use of the mute button.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, it does make a difference to have like a group of people, women, whatever it is that you trust and that you can, especially with like Last Jedi, I was a little actually hesitant at first to post opinions online because the backlash that came was not just, I don't agree with you. It was like, I don't agree with you, go die in a ditch. Like, it was really terrible.
Oh yeah, you're not a Star Wars fan if you like this movie, I got one. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right. And sometimes, and I do start like, I just like to make a mess with them back. And I'll just be like, okay, put a smiley face. Or at the end of the year, I'm like, okay, have a great new year. Because I'm sarcastic. But I get that. And online, like, people say really insensitive, a myriad of terrible things.
Yeah.
But if you have, with Drea, for example, and a few other friends, I can have a safe, constructive discussion. So maybe I'll take my more in-depth thoughts and like talk it out in that way. We got and after we did our Last Jedi episode, like we got some nice comments about like, thank you for like just talking about this in a rational
yes
I'm like, well, we tried. I mean, Dre got pretty excited about shirtless Kylo Ren.
It was awesome. No, and it's cool because, you know, at least we have in those moments where we don't maybe agree with them, at least now we have our friends that it's okay to talk to them. I'm like, oh, this sucks, and they'll lift you up. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, I want to do interviews just with girls right now because they're out there, and we all love Star Wars, and it's totally fine, and we all went through little ups and downs, but that's no reason to shy away from the community. So
exactly.
That's why
I think it's great that you're doing that.
Thank you. So what would you tell a little girl nowadays that loves Star Wars and may be shy about it? What would you tell maybe your 12-year-old Amy version?
I don't know if the little girls like if I see a little girl in costume at Disneyland or wearing a cool Star Wars shirt, I always compliment them. I'm like, oh, I love your costume. Isn't Star Wars awesome? I don't know if that makes a difference to them, but I know it still makes a difference to me as an adult. Like, I love when other fans are like, oh, your purse is so cool. And like, then you nerd out about Star Wars for a few minutes. So I always make it a point to compliment kids, like whatever it is, just in case, like, I think it's cool, and hopefully, like, that makes a difference to them. If it doesn't, it makes me happy.
No, I do feel it makes a difference because I'm a child psychologist, so I work with a lot of kids, and one of my kids is always like waiting for a session with me. He'll be like, Anna, I need to talk to my dad about Star Wars, so I need you to tell me the questions and this and that, and that makes me feel awesome because he's not looking for his dad first, but looking for me to talk about Star Wars.
That's cool. So yeah, I would tell any kid, like what you like. I know it's hard when you're a kid to not care about what others think. It's hard as an adult. But wear it on your sleeve, be true to yourself, and a million other cliches, but just don't be ashamed of what you care about, like what makes you passionate and excited. And in fact, I think the more you like lean into it, the more I had somewhere I was going. I need more coffee. And I don't know, like know yourself, I guess. That's not the most creative way to put it. But I think it's true.
Yeah. Be Hera, be Ahsoka, be the race of the world.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you so much for taking our questions, Amy, and for your time. It was such a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you again for being so patient. And I love all your decorations.
Thank you.
I've been counting this while we talk, so if I look like my eyes are wondering.
No worries. No,